If you wait around to be approved by everybody, that's a sign that you have self-hatred. You need other people to give you value. You know if you love yourself when you didn't do a good job. So you tell yourself, that's not as good as I could be. I'll be back. Self-love gives you the confidence to be able to give yourself away and affirm yourself. And this is why self-loved people are not manipulated by anyone. This is why criticism runs off their backs like water on a cat. It's not because they can't feel, you know. It's just that their feelings are not out for manipulation. Number 9, self-love is manifested in self-forgiving. Now this one is very deep. The average person in this room have not forgiven themselves for a lot of things yet. And sometimes you think you do, but you keep carrying this weight. Boy, what I did 5 years ago, I don't know. And you carry this thing. Oh, the things I did last year, man. See, and you can't. Listen, when a person loves themselves, they actually have a good relationship with themselves, and they say, you know, that was dumb what I did last week. Now you know better than that, Miles. Why you did that? Stop doing that. Yes, Miles. Okay. See, they forgive themselves. We walk around trying to get people to forgive us when in fact we haven't forgiven ourselves. Now remember, you can't do for others what you haven't done for yourself. So if you ain't forgiven yourself, you can't forgive me. And number 10, self-love is manifested in self-investing. Okay, if I gave you a diamond ring, would you pay to secure it? Let's say $50,000 diamond ring. Would you just put it on the floor? No, you would pay to get some kind of security for that, right? You would even pay maybe for, what you call that box? Safety, yeah, you would pay monthly for safety deposit box. Why? Because it's valuable. In other words, you would invest in something that is valuable. Now, you wouldn't get a safety deposit box for a plastic ring or a Cracker Jack box. In other words, investment is a measure of value. I love myself so much that I try to read 4 books a month. I keep investing in myself. Come on, I think I have something important to offer the world. So I keep expanding my mind, expanding my concepts, learning new things so I can learn how to be more effective. I keep investing in myself. Why? I love myself. Then I make sure I eat good food, and I try to pay a little extra to get healthy food. You know, instead of drinking, you know, just the juice drink, I drink the pulp, you know, so the pulp drinks. You know, so, and it might be a little extra, but I love myself, see? And I so invest in myself because I want to be strong and always ready to go, you know. At age 54, man, you want to fight? Come on. In other words, when you love something, you invest in it. So here's a guy sucking on a cigarette. That tell me right away the guy don't love his lungs. Self-love determines what you invest in. You invest to go back to evening school, to take a course that you didn't get. It's because you love yourself. You decide you're going to lose 20 pounds because the doctor says this ain't good for your heart, and you love yourself so much, you're going to invest in getting up early in the morning, a little extra jogging, you know, stop going to the all-you-can-eat section, you know. You then invest in yourself. Why? Because you love yourself. Some folks just let themselves go, and that's a sign that they don't love all of themselves. Sometimes they love the intellect, but they don't love the body. Where is your self-love? You talk about singleness. Write this down. This is very important. Every human was created to influence the world. And I want to just bring these 3 words to you tonight and let the others pick up on these words. I want them to write definitions down. I did a lot of research for you the last few days. Okay. Singleness and influence. Let's talk about that. When you fall in love with yourself, what happens after that? Well, here's a thought. Every human was created to influence their world. So when we talk about influence as a single, that includes you. But I get some answers for you tonight. Influence is defined as the capacity to impact one's environment. That includes the people and circumstances through presence, performance, personality, and competence. Write those words down. If you want to be an impact in the world before you die, you need those words in your life. Presence, performance, personality, and competence. You become an influence when those four things are developed in your life. Now, presence means that when you walk into a place, just walking into the place could have an impact. That's a sign that you have influence. Secondly, performance. Performance means you are so good at what you do that you demand respect. So you become an influence. You know, if Michael Jordan says, let me say a few words about basketball, everybody shuts up. Why? Because he has proven by his performance he knows the game. So he has influence over that whole area. Number three, personality. Now, personality has to do with your personality. The person that you display, how you walk, how you greet people, how you present yourself physically, visually, smiling, confidence, not being brash, having dignity, physical dignity. That's personality. And this last one is important, competence. If you meet somebody with a PhD in physics, all of a sudden they have influence. You get a PhD in anything, you have influence when you walk in the room. Why? You took the time to get competence in that area. That's why they say knowledge is a source of influence. And the more knowledge you get, the more influential you become. You know, this past week, I was with T.D. Jakes, 5,000 people. Yesterday, I spoke in Atlanta with Eddie Long, just got back. And, you know, they had about maybe 7,000. And both of them invited me, one to Washington, T.D. Jakes, one to Atlanta yesterday. And they both said, we invited you because the material that we wanted you have. The content is what they use. So they flew me from my country and paid me to come and give them my content. Now, where did I get the content from? Same books that you ain't reading. And they think I'm smart. It's just that while you're watching TV, I'm reading. For the past 39 years. You could be on the phone for 2 hours and become stupid. Just talking dumb stuff. You know, shut the phone down and pick up a book and read a chapter you never knew and let your mind be expanded and your competence increase. Some of you on a job right now and that job is being threatened. My suggestion is to beat them to the punch. Start, not the punch paper, I mean to the punch. Start. Be careful, that's joking. You have to start thinking now, what can I do to cut that off and get some competence in some other areas? What are you doing to diversify your education knowledge? What are you really good at that people will respect you for? When you walk in the room, they say, boy, that person can do that. Or who do they call on when they need certain things? That's a sign of influence. It's very important. Influence is earned. Please write this statement down. It is earned over time. And I wrote this very specifically and carefully so you can write this down. Influence is earned over time through the consistent commitment and dedication to a personal goal and a conviction and a discipline or a cause at the expense of self-preservation. Please write it down as a long sentence, but it'll help you in 20 years. In other words, influence is earned over time when people watch you and see you invest in refining your own self. You know, Nelson Mandela, for example, can fit this very easily. Nelson Mandela was a lawyer. He graduated from a school in London, went back to South Africa, and he had a problem. His conviction was that everybody was equal. His people were not being treated equal. So his conviction created a consistent commitment that took him in prison. In other words, he wasn't concerned about his own self-preservation. He believed in something so deeply, he was willing to pay a price for it. Now, paying the price is what earns you influence. If you go through hell and come out, people will respect you. That's why he came out of prison on Monday and was president on Tuesday. Well, he already paid the price for influence in the country. Why are you...
Whether or not you use the word wisdom or the characteristics of God's nature to make your choice of a lifetime mate, you must take full responsibility for your choice and all the consequences that come with your decision.
Many have set marriage and living happily ever after as their goal in life. The goal of the Christian is to become the separate, unique, and whole person the Lord wants him or her to be, and the vessel that will hold the treasure, which is Jesus.
Impressed with lawyers or doctors. The guy spent 14 years trying to get a specialization in medicine. So when he walks in there, he tells you, take your clothes off. Yes, sir. You take them off. But the guy got influence. You're like, hey, I won't take my clothes off for anybody, but this guy's take your clothes off, you know. It's the influence over those preparation of those years and the price and the cost that he put in that makes you influenced by him. I can see you using imagination. I can see the imagination. We do it all the time. Take your pants off. I say, yes, sir. Take your pants off. But you see, they paid a price. Why? They were dedicated and committed to a specific goal or a specific discipline that earned them the right to have influence. What have you done long enough that we should be influenced by you and respect you for? Some of you haven't done anything yet. And you change jobs so fast, we didn't know what you specialize in. Matter of fact, most people are either Jack or Jacqueline. Jacqueline of all the trades, you know. Master nothing. You have to master something to gain influence. And that's why we're here this week. Now, I want you to just write this next statement down. This is a very important one. Singleness and success. I'm going to give you a secret here. And if you learn what I'm going to share with you, it doesn't matter what happens to the stock market. If you learn what I'm going to share with you, it doesn't matter the oil prices. I'm giving you the greatest secret of how to overcome every environment. It has to do with becoming single. How do you become an influence? Well, write this down. Influence power will produce leadership. And that may be as a sanitary worker or someone who is a housekeeper in the hotel. They can be leaders in their areas. It may be someone who sells perfume in a store. They know 1,000 scents. They've been there for 50 years. They know how everything smells. They know every perfume. That's a competence. So don't just think of leaders as being prime minister. It could be someone selling shoes who have 1,000 shoes, know every one of them in that store. They know exactly what they like, what they do, what they're made of. They know it. They are competent. But the problem is folks don't stay there working long enough to become competent. Influence produces leaders. Number two, influence power will result in personal success. And everyone in this auditorium wants to be successful personally. I know that. I ain't got no question about that. I know you want to be successful. That's why you breathe every morning, wake up every morning. You want to try one more time to be successful. I'm going to give you the secret to success right now. Here's how you become successful. The key to influence is value. Say that with me. The key to influence is value. Say it again. The key to influence is value. If you get that, you know, you're on your way tonight. If you want to be influential, you must position yourself to become valuable. At least to number three. If you want to be successful, do not seek success. Seek to influence. It is the influencer that attracts finances. You know, Larry King last night chose to interview a guy who never graduated from college with a degree in business. His name is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a real estate agent who became a real estate guru. The guy has worth billions, okay? But he started as a real estate agent, just like you, real estate. He's still in real estate. The stock market fell apart last night, dropped 509 points. Two big banks collapsed. Insurance company about to fold up, affecting the whole world. And Larry King calls as a real estate agent to give advice on his show last night. And I sat there and thought about it. I said, wow, why did he call this guy? Influence? The guy owned half of New York and ain't got no money. I read his book. You should read all of his books. He got some great books. Donald Trump books. Just buy them. He gives some secrets of how to build wealth without money. And he says your first enemy is fear. You look at the price too much. And this guy is worth billions. He said last night, he says, I sold one of my houses for $100 million last night, he says. $100 million for one house in Florida. My God. Oh. I wish I was the broker. I'd retire in the morning. $100 million for one house. This guy, but Larry King called him why? Because he's been in it for years and he has become competent. And so they call on him because he is influence. This leads to point number 4. Seek to become a person of influence. Seek becoming a person of value. The more valuable you become, the more influential you become. Okay, Pastor.
A merry heart does good, like medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones. Proverbs 17:22. Bones are the factories for blood, and life is in the blood. Anyone who touches your heart also touches your blood, and therefore touches your very life and existence.
You should not need someone else to make you whole, and you definitely should not enter into a marriage in which the other person needs you to make him or her whole. Nobody has time to be dealing with an empty or half-empty spouse. Solomon said, a man who has friends must himself be friendly. Proverbs 18:24. That means if you are lonely, you should ask yourself what kind of friend you are. Are you afraid to be alone? Some people always want other people around because they do not like themselves or because they are so empty that they have to live through others.